Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check out what just arrived. It's the Hubsan ZINO. This is going to be a multi-part review. For this one here, we're going to do an unboxing, inspection, and setup in-depth flight test. I usually like to take these things out to the park and really just put them through all their paces. And then we're also going to do some range testing and try to do some cinematic video. So we're all wondering, is this thing going to be just kind of a copy, a lesser copy of something like the Mavic Air or the Mavic Pro? Who knows, but we're going to find out in this full multi-part in-depth review series. So let's take the ZINO out of the box and see what it's all about. Okay, so as far as the box goes, you can kind of see we have a picture of it opened up here and just spinning it around. Nothing really else to see except how it is closed up. We'll just open it up really quick and dig in. This is kind of like how they box all of their X4 drones and stuff, just with like some cardboard packaging. Cardboard sleeve there holding everything in on there. And then the same thing on the front. These are just empty cardboard boxes. Just throw those on the floor for now. Here's the drone itself. Cool. So it's just sitting in the whole half of the box on its own. And then we have this underneath cardboard box. I just want to make sure there's nothing else in here. Got a little foam pad to protect the camera, it looks like. Now we have some labeling on the other stuff here. Spare parts box and just one other box, remote control. Go ahead and open up these little boxes first just to see what's inside before we get to the main event, the ZINO. I know you guys are anxious to get to it, but we want to see and save the best for last. So we'll open up this and see what we get. So full set of propellers. It looks like there's going to be 2 per motor. They're kind of those swinging propellers. Nice little screwdriver. This looks like a flathead with a little protector on the front. Extra screws, a whole set of extra propeller screws in case you lose some of those already on there. They give you a full set. Pulling this box open, and this looks like all of the cabling and stuff. Kind of the same way Hubsan just kind of throws everything in one box. Not really any special packaging here, I guess, because they're trying to keep it pretty budget. But here's the charger, a simple charger with the wall plug port there, and then we just have a 3S port here right on the front. So 3S port. Very, very simple charger. And I do live in the US, but it looks like they have a foreign charger here for me. So I'm gonna have to either get our adapter. Anyway, regardless, this is what we're getting. We have a micro USB cable. Then we have another one. It looks like this is gonna kind of follow suit to what DJI does with their drones. We have an Apple Lightning connector to a regular micro D-shaped USB cable there. So that looks like it's going to go from the controller to your Apple phone. Then we've got one other connector here, kind of interesting. It looks like maybe an adapter. Yeah, so this is going to go into the actual charger. It looks like they're choosing to do kind of a proprietary 3S battery. So that's going to plug into the charger. That's kind of like a balance cable. And then this looks like it's going to plug into the proprietary type of battery that Hubsan is using for the craft. And of course this plugs in here and this goes into the wall if you have the correct adapter. And that same box was a little instruction manual, just a very tiny little manual with a few pages. Opening the other box, all it is the controller. Nothing else in here. So if you guys were expecting this to be a premium quality product and packaging, it really isn't that premium. As long as the thing flies good and works fine, I don't really care much about the packaging because it's the product that we're buying. We just want to make sure it works correctly, right? Anyway, here's the controller. We've got these little antennas. They work kind of down like this. There's no snapping or clips in the antennas. They're just kind of loose here and you can like move them around however you want. They go that way. They go all the way out to there. That's where they kind of bottom out. And then you can twist them about that far and then you can twist them in all the way for folding. So the joysticks, feeling pretty nice. They are just all plastic, pretty plasticky and cheap. They do both click down in to the gimbals. Then we have, looks like a takeoff and landing button here, return to home button, power button, and here is a switch for sport to the right and normal to the left. Very hard to see, but there is some writing on there. Looks like they might need to use a different color on that writing because I can't even see it from, 10 inches away. Then we've got, looks like a battery power. I'm just pressing the battery. Looks like there's nothing happening right now. Press and hold. There we go. So it's going to be a press and hold to power up. Go ahead and press and hold. Hearing a beep to power down as well. Looking at the top of the controller, we've got a camera button and then we have a roller which doesn't turn very far and it's spring loaded. It stops and springs back. On the right hand side there's no roller here, but there is a record button. So interesting. maybe we can't really adjust the exposure or anything on the fly. We do have some venting over the top and nothing really on the bottom except for, this looks like the phone bracket. So we pull this thing out. Oh, interesting. So first tier, you pull it out, you've got a first tier here, and then we have a second tier, which is spring loaded. And we've got these rubber little accepting flanges here to kind of notch into your device. On the bottom, quite interesting, do have a little port here. Don't know what that's for. It looks like maybe it's for programming or something. Also in the middle, another port there, which doesn't really look like USB or anything. They're just kind of two open ports. Not sure what those are going to be used for. So we'll close that up, and really the only thing we've got left on this controller is the right side. And this is where we're going to plug in that, remember that micro USB cable to a lightning jack that they provided us. We'll plug that in there if we're using an iPhone. See how that just kind of plugs in just like that. Micro USB to USB-C. That would have been nice, wouldn't it? Okay, so far not super impressed. I mean, it doesn't look like they're trying to go for any kind of DJI quality competition. It looks like they're going the cheaper route and just making it really super affordable for people to have similar functionality, but at a very cheap cost as far as what I'm seeing on the quality and fit and finish of everything. Like I said, as long as it functions. So that's pretty much everything in the box, guys. All we have left is the Zino itself. Check it out. So let's get in here close to the Zino. See that first off, we have these little cardboard things holding the propellers. If we do pull the legs out, let's see how we take these cardboard things off. Okay, the legs are kind of cool. They pull out. There's like one notch there. And then we go a little further, no notching. And then it gets kind of hard. And then it pops into like a notch here. There's a little bit of play, but it looks like it's gonna hold it flying in the air. Untwist or rip these off. Not really anything going on special here. They're just kind of like notched little cardboard. So we'll pull out all the arms and we'll take out all these pieces of cardboard off. Again, it looks like they're keeping this thing super low budget so that they can, you know, give you a really good cost for the consumer and not really break the bank, but you'll have some of the type of functionality you want, similar to other higher end drones. Okay, so that's it fully extended. It looks like it's definitely going to be larger than a Mavic Air. So I'm going to grab a Mavic Pro, possibly a Pro 2, and just kind of compare it size wise. The controller is a little bit larger. It's definitely white. The sticks you would kind of like find on maybe like a toy drone. And of course, it's just definitely not up to DJI quality standards, but again, it's a budget drone. So let's go ahead and unfold the Mavic 2 Pro, which I recently did a bunch of videos on. Check them out on the channel, guys, if you haven't yet. So side by side, really, wow, I kind of want to put these on top of each other and really just see what the difference is. So the Zino body itself is definitely thinner. It's about the same height. See that? So about the same height, maybe even a little bit higher. But it's shorter from front to back. It looks like about an inch or two shorter. I don't know, pretty darn close. It looks like they went and followed the specs really, really close as far as the length of the arms and the way they're sticking out. A little bit of a different angle on the Zino, the way the arms are angling out than the Mavic 2 Pro. Anyway, that's how it looks there. We're gonna look at it from the front here. Kind of very similar. I mean, gosh, were they trying to copy the Mavic 2 or Mavic Pro? I don't know. It looks like they were trying to get something similar. On the Zino, though, the battery is in the back. So let's put the Mavic to the side. I just wanted to do a quick little comparison. Not comparing a whole lot to it, but I just wanted to compare the overall design. I think that gives us a good idea of the differences. Anyway, there's the propellers. You can see how they're just kind of like flopping around on the motors. And then there's those extra screws they give us in the box that you can replace if you lose some of those. Venting on the top arms, and then there's this little kind of writing here. Make sure the arms are unfolded and in place before takeoff, of course. So really want to pull those out and make sure they're all notched all the way out. You see how you can have them partially extended and they don't really go all the way. If you notice on the Mavic 2 and the other Mavic drones, they do have a point where it just flips the arm back. So there's no way you can really extend them only partially. As long as you give them a good push, they just kind of notch out and they're spring loaded. But with the Zino, you do have the possibility, see how I pushed it back and it's not really springing back. So you have all these different angles where it will just kind of stay there. Here's the front feet under the front motor, and looking under that front motor, looks like that's going to be a little plastic cover to the LED and the motor there. Front feet very similar to something like the Mavic. You got a little bit of rubber on the bottom. Looks like there's a screw there just to keep the front off the ground. Hubsan ZINO on top. Looks like we've got some venting and a power button there. On the rear arms, they don't have any legs whatsoever. All they're having is this little bit of a rubber foot on the bottom there, just a little strip of rubber. And then on the very bottom, we've got two kind of long rubber feet there, and also there's rubber feet in the front. Interesting. So it's using these and the feet on the legs to give you that stance. Over on the left side, we have a micro USB port and an SD card slot. Very easily accessible. I don't see any door on the top of this. Remember, no SD card in the package, so you're gonna have your own SD card because it looks like they're going super budget with this one. Here's how we take out the battery. So pushing in these little tabs and then pulling this battery out. That's what the inside looks like, and you can see the battery connection there on the top. Now let's take a look at this battery. So there's the spring-loaded latch and the mechanism there. There's the battery port. Looking at the specs of the battery, 3000 milliamp hour, 11.4. So it's a high voltage 3S battery. Pretty good amount of power here. Just some notching on the front. And remember, the whole bottom is open on the craft. So that's what we're going to be seeing on the bottom of the craft there. So kind of a slightly proprietary little case, but I'm okay with that. We're going to have to see definitely in the flight test really how long this thing lasts in the air. Wow guys, so there really is nothing about like flight time and specs on this thing anywhere on the box or even on the manual. So I'll have to leave it up to you guys. Check out the link in the description and look at the information on that link, but it should be doing, I'm hoping 4K, and I'm hoping it's going to be at least around 20 minutes. Remember the H501S had around 20 minutes of flight time. Don't miss the park flight, the flight test, the in-depth flight test I'm going to do on this, and we'll see really how everything performs. So make sure you don't miss that video. Anyway, we do have the battery back in, just slides and clips in. You can see the under part of the belly of the battery is actually the surface of the bottom there. Just one vent here. This looks pretty good though. Look at this. It's a hard, kind of semi-clear, black clear shell guarding this camera. I like this actually. The fit and finish is really nice on here. Cups in really well. I'm pulling on it. It's not popping out. Remember the Mavic 2 Pro? Their little cover is kind of flimsy. It just pops off fairly easily. So wow, that's interesting. Hubsan has kind of one-upped DJI on their little camera cover because that thing is solid. Anyway, enough about how it looks. It's really fitting on there good. Pushing in these two tabs on the sides and it really easily pops off. Excellent. Looks like it's notched perfectly for the camera. You can see that semi-clear black gray finish. And here is the camera, guys. So a very small camera. Looks almost like the DJI Mavic Air camera. Very similar, or the Spark. Very small camera, and it is doing a yaw stabilization, a pitch, and a roll. You can see all the different axes there. So it is a full 3-axis camera. A little bit of venting here on the aluminum on the back there, if you can see it. Kind of hard to see in the black. And you can see how it's just mounted up there with some rubber bands, and it does feel like it's gonna really dampen everything pretty good. It's just floating around in there. So looks like pretty good camera. We're gonna also have to test that out in the flight test to see really how that is in some wind and kind of jerking around and flying it, see how stable that can be. Anyway guys, that really is it for everything we get in the box and just an overall look at the hardware. Let me charge this thing up, we'll power up, we'll get it on the iPad or a phone, and we'll see just how the interface looks and how the FPV lag is and all that stuff. So here's the thing guys, make sure you get the version that is for your country because I can't use this plug in the US and I don't have any adapters that adapt to this one. I have the adapter that adapts to the two round ones. I think that's for like China and stuff, but I don't have an adapter to this, and this one charges directly from the balance port like this, and I don't have a charger that will charge high voltage directly from a balance because we're going to need to use this proprietary adapter here on this one. So a little bit disgruntled at Hubsan for not really including an adapter for my country. So what I'm going to have to do is check out the voltage on this guy and find a plug that can supply this with the correct voltage and use my own US plug. And by the way, those output specs are 15 volts and 1 amp. FYI, if you're looking for an adapter with this connector that will fit that charger. Okay guys, wow, that took forever. It took about 3 to 4 hours to what I think hopefully charge this battery. There is no indicator light on the battery, so you can't press anything to get a quick indication, kind of like what DJI does with their batteries. So I couldn't use that wall plug, so I went ahead and scrounged around and found the proper wall plug that could take a US adapter. I have a bunch of these adapters around, so I was able to mitigate that, and I found the correct voltage output and amperage output for this charger. In the instructions it says that you should see 3 red lights when it's charging, and they should turn green when it's charged. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case for me. They started just blinking red. I think it's hopefully charged now. So that's how I took care of the charging issue. Okay, so as far as the proper application goes on your device, whether you have Android or Apple, make sure you have the Hubsan application installed in your device at the App Store. And what Hubsan says is you need to turn on the ZINO first. So let's see how all this works. So sliding in the battery, looks like we can just push it in without pushing in these side tabs. That's just to remove it. So it gives it a nice lock, feels good there. Press and hold it. And that's supposed to turn it on. So that's what the camera's doing. It's leveling itself, and then what we'll do is we'll turn the controller on. Remember, the controller needs a press and hold to turn that on. I am seeing the blue lights on the controller were blinking for a while. Now they're on solid. So plug it into the bottom, and we're going to launch our Hubsan application there. Looks like I might have to turn it this way. Okay, this is going to be kind of weird. So it's saying allow Hubsan to access your location. I'm going to press allow there. Now it's saying send you notifications, allow. Looks like we have to sign in or register right away. If I tap the screen, I can't get away from there. So I don't think I have an account here, so I'm gonna have to register real quick. Accept. And there it is. So it's looking like it's on the H501A. And if we swipe across, there's the ZINO. We have a couple of options on this menu. There's the drone, there's settings here. You can pull your photos and videos from this. And then there's our account there. It's got an academy, flight log. We've got a flight log, so I already have a score of 150,000. Interesting, and I haven't gone anywhere. Anyway, kind of cool. Just like DJI, you have a little flight log you can go into. So we'll go back into the drones. Very similar to what DJI is doing with their stuff. We're gonna go enter device, how to pair devices. So we'll go click on that, and it shows you how to open up the ZINO. Check that out, pretty cool. Okay, we did that. Next step, power on the device, and then connect the control and mobile device via patch cords. We did that. Next step, enter the settings interface and tap on controls tab. Okay, so it gets a little bit confusing here. So this is where we're gonna have to go into the app. Okay, let's just see what we get. Finish tutorial, entering device, kind of interesting. We have a novice guide, tells you all these warnings. Sliding to the right, though this is kind of cool, tells you all of the things that are gonna be on the interface, and it labels them for you. So definitely go through this. Sliding again, control stick. I think it comes with mode 2, and let's just enter. All right, so we have nothing on screen now. We wanna get into our settings here. We want to go into controller, transmitter connection, Wi-Fi, I believe it said. So guys, FYI, perhaps a limitation with the iPad. I just cannot get it to go into the next menu when it's on the Wi-Fi. Like the instructions say, nothing I do will get me to that screen. I don't use an iPhone, I use an Android as my main device, and I can't even use it because I didn't put the proper cables in the box. So kind of let me down on the power adapter already, and also not the proper cabling to connect my USB-C type cell phone for Android. Let's go, Hubsan, get it together. So anyway, what I'll do is I will go borrow one of my family's iPhones and see if that works. Okay guys, we're gonna try this again. I got the iPhone 8 Plus here from my wife. So let's try this one more time and see if we can get this thing booted up and make sure everything is working. Put this one in since it should fit in this bay. Let's see how this thing fits. All right, fits in there nicely. There we go. And then we'll just plug in the iPhone here. Turn on the controller, pressing and holding. Okay, I did feel the iPhone buzz that time. We want to enter device, enter main interface, enter device, and there we go. Okay. And guess what? That connected no problem. Look at that. I already have FPV and it's looking great. So apparently maybe some issues with compatibility on the iPad. Keep that in mind if you do have issues and you're trying to use maybe even an iPad mini or an iPad standard, you may have all those issues. So just clicking through this little menu of items here, and there we go. We have a nice clear FPV picture, and I'm gonna move the drone around like this, and let's see how that's stabilizing the video. It does look pretty good. So moving that around, yeah, it looks like it's stabilizing pretty darn good. Up in the air, it looks like it's gonna do a great job. Yeah, roll, pitch, and there's the yaw. Stabilizes a little bit until it moves there. So looking good, man, that's great. So let's go a little bit further into the interface here. Let's try and move the gimbal up and down with this left. I'm pressing this left roller to the left, so that goes down, and then to the right. So it doesn't look entirely smooth. It is fast. The more you push it, the faster it goes. So we'll do a fast to the left. You see how fast that went down, fast to the right. And there it goes up. If we want to do really slow, it looks slow, but it also looks maybe a little bit jittery. It doesn't look entirely smooth. So we'll have to see how that looks when we do our flight test. Our propellers are not spinning, they're off. We have our video signal there, control signal here, 14 satellites, battery power is 60%, and that's for me going off and on, trying to get the iPad to connect. Looks like these are gonna be active when we're flying, and then we can switch between camera here and video. That was pretty easy, and it switches really quickly there. That's pretty cool. We have our yaw degree, pitch, roll, distance in meters, height in meters. This is interesting down here on the left. It looks like the controller and the drone both have their coordinates. So GPS coordinates are there. Map here, so we can go into our map. And then we have our drone settings here. So we can go into our modes. So we got normal mode, waypoint mode, orbit. That's gonna be cool to test the orbit. Follow me, it does follow me, so awesome. Creative video line fly mode. Maybe that's like a cable cam type of mode. And then we have VR mode. So we can go into VR mode and we can put our goggles on and we have two screens there. We click on our map and check this out. This is going to be the Google Maps. So that's awesome. A pretty in-depth and intuitive mapping system there. Really like it so far. Follow me functions and functions that are dependent on GPS. You're really going to need to set them up outside. So we won't go into that inside here, but those are all the modes. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty awesome. It looks like Hubsan has done a lot of work here. Want to go through one last thing before we wrap this up, and that's going to be the main settings up here. I want to see what I can do in here. So we've got waypoint settings, GPS accuracy test, bind aircraft to current device, flight control firmware versions, gimbal versions, status normal, so a great little status screen. Down to joysticks, we can turn the virtual joysticks on the screen on or off. Joystick mode 1 or 2. Virtual joystick sensitivity mode settings. Go down to the controller. Transmitter module. Set transmitter and aircraft connection. See, I thought it was supposed to go through Wi-Fi. There we go. So apparently we skipped this. So we want to go the ZINO and connect. Let's see if that works. So that's what we were supposed to do in the beginning, but we kind of skipped through that when we didn't get the aircraft working. So that looks like you're supposed to restart everything, and that should get that all working. So we'll go back out of here. Transmitter information there. Go to the map, allow map calibration. This is a cool function. Always show the aircraft's current location at center of the map. I like that because I like the map to follow the aircraft, and it looks like that's going to be how we do that. Map mode, so we've got hybrid, satellite, and standard by default. Then we have waypoint and mission route sampling accuracy. So I'm not sure what that means, but it looks like you can adjust that if you need to. Last thing, settings, others down here, automatic screen rotation, FPV on. So the horizontal calibration is basically going to be the IMU. We got compass calibration and gimbal gyro calibration. So probably run through the horizontal in the house on a perfectly level surface. The compass calibration, do that out where you're going to fly. And the gimbal calibration you can also do in the house, just in case if you have any horizontal issues with the gimbal. App version and novice guide. So it looks like that's all we can do. I was kind of hoping we could change from metric to imperial, but I don't see that in here. So that's too bad. It looks like Hubsan has not given us the ability to us USA people to have feet and miles. We got to go with meters for distance and height and all that other jazz. So anyway, guys, that's it for the Zino so far. It looks pretty promising. A little bit of a hiccup on the start. So a couple of pros and cons out of the box right away. A little bit of a cheap build on the build quality, but this is a very cheap craft, and it's there to compete probably with the Spark and slightly with maybe the Mavic Air. iPad issues on boot up. iPhone worked perfectly fine. Cabling, if you have an Android device and you have the C plug, you're gonna have to have your own adapter that goes from regular USB, micro USB to USB type C to get your phone in there. They didn't include one of those in the box. And also the power cable, man, that was a mess too. Luckily I had one of these from another drone around, so I was able to get all that working together. Again, it would be nice if they could maybe throw in like a 32 gigabyte SD card, because there's no SD card that comes in the package, and you need to slide one right in there in the port on the side before you fly. Let's just go ahead and do that real quick. I'm gonna power it down. Pressing and holding. Looks like you want to have the card upside down and then push it in and click. So that's it, super easy. And that's really all there is to it with the Hubsan ZINO. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Don't forget, next couple of reviews are going to be, guys, first of all, we're going to do a full in-depth review at the park. We're going to go through all these functions, a lot of cool flight modes on the controller. We're going to see how that 4K camera is, pictures are, and we'll have those up on the screen. And also I'm going to record my device on here so you guys can see the device I'm recording. You guys are going to be able to see in my hat cam and also that 4K footage of how it all looks in real time during the review. So hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget, guys, links down in the description down below if you wanted to check out the pricing on this and more of the in-depth specs. Go ahead and visit that link, and I will see you guys in the flight test and range test to come. Thanks for watching. I want to make sure you have the ex-husband